Hey everybody, how we doing? We are headed out on another road trip, believe it or not. We have to go and pick up a rear section for the D. This is going to be a rear section from a 27 D, and I think I got some plans for this one. So if you guys want to stay tuned, come along for the ride. Well guys, we had one heck of a road trip. We did about 930 miles and drove from here to Nebraska and back in one day. And here's what we picked up. This is the rear section of a 1927 John Deere D. So the reason that I got this, first of all, let's get the serial number, 44891, which makes it a fairly early 1927 D. The reason that I got this was because the axle housing was broken on the other D, and one of the rear wheel hubs was bad. So I figured, well, I came across this for a really good price actually, and I figured we'd use this as a parts tractor. But this is actually, so something I wasn't aware of on the 27Ds, they have a keyed crankshaft for the flywheel. Instead of having splined shaft here, there's a square key in this section of the crank and flywheel that you pull out, and then the flywheel slides off. It's kind of a rare, well, I wouldn't call it rare, but it's a low production number tractor simply because of the keyed crank. The Spoker Ds all the way through the nickel hole Ds all had keyed cranks, but the solid flywheel with the larger holes after the nickel hole was only built for about 2/3, if I have researched that properly, about 2/3 of the 1927 production year have the later style flywheel with the keyed crank still. So what I think I'm going to do actually is, this one has a little bit nicer crank and camshaft in it. It's not nearly as rusty as the other one, and the rear end is probably good. I haven't opened up the top cover yet, but we can do that real quick just to take a look. But I think I'm gonna build this one. So as if I wasn't a glutton for punishment, I'm gonna tear this one completely apart, tear the 28 completely apart, use 2 tractors to make one good one, and we'll use the rear section from the 27 with the keyed crank and the 27 serial tag to build a Model D. That's the plan anyway. I know that this was originally a complete tractor a couple years ago. Brian, the man I got it from, tried to sell it as a complete tractor but couldn't get anybody to bite on it, so he ended up parting it out, and here it sits today. This was all that's left of it, and really all I needed was the left side axle housing and a couple other small parts, a rear wheel and that, but here it is. So one other thing that we did pick up was a rear wheel from a friend of mine whose also name is Brian. This one isn't in terrible shape, but it isn't in great shape. I do have a bent spoke here and a bent spoke here. Then I'm gonna have to try and straighten a little bit or leave them as is, but at least this will get us into a roller. I didn't really feel comfortable. Well, I do have this one's bent inwards a little ways, so that won't be a problem. That can be straightened really easily. But I didn't feel comfortable rolling that other D around on that hub that was cracked terribly. So picked up a rear wheel. We'll straighten those spokes out. And yeah, I don't know when we're going to get started on this project, but you know, it's here. So for whenever we have the chance to start on it, it's here and waiting and ready. So that's really all I've got. That's going to do it for this video. So say hello to the next section of the early John Deere D saga. So hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned because this could be a good one. But wait, there's more. I figured, what the heck, we might as well pull these few bolts out and take the covers off to see what it looks like down in there. Oh, well, that's good. There's still oil in it, so that's good. Doesn't look terrible. I don't see any broken teeth yet, so that's good. Oh, forgot a bolt. Well, this section is dry, but it still looks good. Some junk down in there, but the front section, obviously that was already open, but it doesn't look too bad. I bet the crank would actually, that would probably clean up with just some Scotch-Brite pads or some steel wool maybe, or emery cloth. But it is locked up. And I would bet that it's locked up either because the oil pump is locked up or the crank maybe is stuck in the bearings, in the mains maybe. That gear moves. The cam does not move. Yeah, it does not move at all. So here we go. Chain driven transmission, or final drive I should say. Here's your bowl pinions down there. Planetary set here. Shift rail and gears. Now this only has high, low, and reverse. It's a 2-speed transmission. Crankshaft, crank gear, Cam gears down there, oil pump is there. Then you have your idler for your governor drive here. Camshaft. And I believe these are the cam followers. So your push rods go right into, oh, that one's stuck. That one's not. This one is stuck. So might as well spray some lubricant on that. See if we can get that freed up. But there it is. You saw the internals. So here's the gear that drives from the crank to the first reduction gear, which is underneath this cover. It is missing the cover for this bull pinion carrier. That's okay, we've got one on the parts D. Cover and carrier, I should say. But we've got one on the 28D, so not the end of the world. And it also, I think, had a PTO on it at one time. Either that or somebody robbed the cover off that goes here. But either way, we got to rob the cover off the other one. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the covers back on this, and that will do it for this video. So all right, take care guys, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.